Welcome to TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John, that's my cohort and commentary Ashton, and we invite you to recline back your chairs, ease all of your cares, as we present to you our Monday night Raw review. And I gotta be honest with you guys, this Raw, I think on the whole, when I look at it, I would say it was solid. There was definitely some fun content tonight. However, there were some things that really either angered me or just annoyed me. And you know our new policy here? I don't want to get mired in anger. I don't want the whole podcast to be like, an hour and a half of me ranting like a lunatic about everything that's wrong with wrestling, given everything. And then just, a kernel of positivity here and there. We'll just get through the anger, in the appropriate segment. But there were things that really ticked me off about tonight's Raw. Partner, how'd you feel about tonight's Raw?
Yeah, I'm definitely lower on tonight's Raw than you. You gave it a solid. I'm going to say it was just kind of straight up bad. I would say really meh at best. I was kind of thinking about how to describe my feelings on tonight's Raw before we went live, and I kind of landed on the conclusion that it was kind of an 80-20 show. It was about 80% below average to downright dreadful, and the 20% that was good in hard quotes was really more just like decent than good. I would say that there wasn't really anything stellar on this show. There was nothing great on this show. There were a few moments on this show that got me to smile, but there was nothing on the show that got me really like stoked and like, whoa, this is so cool. So like the stuff that wasn't bad was decent, but there was also a lot that was bad on this show to me.
All right, well then, perfect for us, our first segment, Heat of the Night, and it's got to be a New England winner because the furnace is working overtime.
Oh my God, tell me about it. It was, yeah, there's a lot. I'm going to let you go first because I think we're probably going to share a lot on this, but my God.
I'm going to try, like I said, new policy, we talked about this before we went back to reviews, so I'm not going to try and get mired in this, but first thing out of the gate, I do just have to mention an update with Bliss and Fiend. We already know that we hate it, so again, going to gloss over all that. I hate that she is the weakness. If that is not the height of fucking narcissism to me, like, oh, of course I'd be the weakness. And here's the thing, I don't even think the Fiend conceptually should have a weakness, but it's like I tweeted about it in anger, which really was probably the best note I took on this whole thing. If the Fiend has a weakness, they should honestly treat it the way that Undertaker treated Paul Bearer in 2004 when he conceived of Paul Bearer as a weakness. And I'm not saying that he should encase Alexa Bliss in oatmeal, but like kayfabe-wise, somehow he needs to kill her. In that way. I hate to use those terms, but like he needs to resolve the weakness, right? So that's all I'm going to say about that. That's all I'm going to say about it. What about you? Do you have a heat of the night that you want to share?
Well, that was definitely one of them. That was one that I was going to bring up if you didn't, but I just kind of assumed that you would, which is a big reason why I wanted you to go first. And really just kind of, like you said, it's really more of an update because we have kind of agreed to try not to talk about things that, try not to be repetitive. Like if we hate something, we'll acknowledge that we hate it and then try our best to just barely touch on it in the future. Just be like, yep, still hate it and move on kind of thing.
Yes.
In this case, I think we can kind of, continue that sort of trend with the treatment of Retribution. Because, yeah, Slapjack needed a fucking army to beat Ricochet. And don't get me wrong, I wouldn't have been angry if Ricochet had beaten Slapjack in like a really good 15-minute match because I know both those guys are perfectly capable of doing that. But Slapjack got the help of literally every other male member of Retribution and then won with like a pretty cool looking like sidewinder neckbreaker looking thing. It was pretty cool. And then of course, I mean, this kind of encapsulates the absolute fucking abomination that was Dana Brooke beating Reckoning, beating Mia Yim clean as a whistle. Are you fucking kidding me right now?
Just a quick tag onto that. I actually said that last little bit that you just said, are you fucking kidding me? I audibly said that when the 3 count was rendered.
Yeah.
So I am 100%
dude, I think we might have had a moment of synchronicity there, because I'm pretty sure I said the same exact thing out loud as well. And then literally in the Discord, as soon as it happened and I kind of felt myself like cooling off, even just the slightest little bit, realizing what the hell just happened, I said, did that really just happen? And then I tweeted at Javaris, bruh, just expecting a rage-induced response of something, because I really thought he'd be angrier than he seemed to be on Twitter that fucking Mia just lost to Dana in seconds, it felt like.
Yeah, we've already talked about Retribution at length, so I'm not going to get into it here, but like, you're really telling it, because I do just want to point out one thing, if I may. This completely neuters Reckoning to me, because it wasn't that long ago she was calling out Asuka.
Yeah.
Right? Like it was very clear she was telegraphing Asuka.
Yeah. I was
and you just
thinking,
lost to Dana
she tweeted something about, like, keep watching earlier on in the show, and I was like, oh, is she going to do something big? Is she going to, like, attack Asuka during the tag match tonight? And no. The thing that she wanted us to keep watching for was to watch her lose to Dana Brooke in under a minute and then get chewed out by Ali for embarrassing Retribution.
Yeah. So, is there anything else you want to say about that?
Without getting repetitive, I don't think so. I do have more problems with this show, though. So if you have something, we'll kind of volley the ball back and forth. So
absolutely, partner. I think we're going at a good pace, too, so I'm liking this. I just want to say, for me personally, I think I understand it on the whole when you look at the whole scheme of Monday Night Raw. I don't like that Jeff Hardy won tonight. I mean, I expected it.
I was gonna heat of the night that whole match, not just the finish, the whole match. Like, does Jeff Hardy really, at his age, how old is Jeff Hardy? Is he 43? 43 years, that's what I thought. He's 43 years old. And this dude is doing a senton off the top of the ring post onto a table set up immediately congruent to the fucking steel steps. This dude landed on the table, broke the table, and then fell to the floor, and the back of his head cracked the bottom of the steel steps. Like, this dude, stop, Jeff. Nobody is asking you to do this shit anymore. Please.
I really don't think there's anything I could add, but I will just say this anyway. What you just said, like, stop it. This just shows the very nonchalant view, a very ignorant view, neither of which is good, right? Whether you're ignorant or nonchalant, they're both bad. Maybe nonchalance is worse. That WWE has about, you know, what their industry does to the human body and the addictions that result from it. Because it'd be one thing, right, if Jeff suffered from a litany of injuries. It's another thing when we know that Jeff, and I'm not trying to take the piss, I know I've been known to do that. I'm being very serious right now. Jeff has a history of substance abuse problems. And, like, you can't tell me that a style like this isn't a catalyst for that. It's just they're very clearly connected. The idea that nobody has pulled him aside and been like, Jeff, we can tell a really compelling story about you because you've been in this company, I think, through like every major era, you know, Attitude Era, Ruthless Aggression, like all this. And, you know, we can almost do an Undertaker type thing with you, where as you get older, you have to change your style to keep up with the younger guys because this isn't working anymore. Like, and the idea that nobody's even thought to do that with him, which could have a lot of creative possibilities. It'd be better for him. I think it'd be better for the company long term. And they're just like, oh, yeah, Jeff, that's totally cool. It's just the senselessness of this company from top to bottom will never cease to astound me. But, again, that's all I want to say about that. So I'm going to volley the ball back to you. Is there anything? What else would you like to air out about this show?
Yeah, well, that was the other big one was the Symphony of Destruction match, just kind of in general as a concept. The fact that we're already getting a second one of these in what feels like a far less personal feud. Because wasn't the last one Elias and Strowman?
Yes, I believe you're right about that.
And that felt so much more personal. Like you had Strowman coming out with the fucking bass, like plucking away at it and shit. Yeah, like that felt way more personal than this. This feels completely unnecessary. It feels like, it really does feel like at this point they're just trying to like pop ratings. I want to say I had one other problem. Let me see if I can find it in my notes here. No, that was actually pretty good. I actually enjoyed a lot of the Riddle Styles interactions tonight. They were all, maybe not all, but most of them I found to be pretty entertaining. Let's see. I think it might have been the main event now that I think about it. Yeah, it was. It was the main event, and really the post segment of the main event. The Miz, I felt like personally, the Miz was at his best on SmackDown from like 2016 to like the first half of 2019, when he was kind of, his whole character was that he was willing to do anything to win, and he was smarter than a lot of his opponents. And, you know, he would cheat, but he would always cheat in a way where he wouldn't get caught, or he would have his wife Maurice help him to win, or, you know, he was always clever at finding ways to win. And, you know, he was never really like to the level of like Sami Zayn right now as far as using your brain to beat people, but I feel like he was kind of cut from that same cloth a lot of the time. And tonight, Miz was really fucking stupid. Like, it was almost embarrassing how dumb he was at the end of this show, where AJ is trying to help him cash in, and he's just like, no, like he's getting possessive over the briefcase. Like, no, Mr. Styles, you're not allowed to cash in on my behalf. I have to do it myself. And AJ was just like, dude, look at him. And he looked over and he sees Drew in the heap, and he's just like, oh, you know, wait a minute. That's a great point. I am going to cash in. And by then, Drew's recovered, and he just eliminates, or not eliminates, but, you know, neutralizes everybody. And that's just it. So, yeah, I guess this is more of a nitpick, but yeah, The Miz was just really dumb tonight, and it was really frustrating.
I think what's even worse about what you said, if I could augment your nitpick, is like, it'd be one thing, bro, if nobody talked to each other, right? Like, if AJ tried going into business for himself after becoming number one contender, I'd actually get this if that was the case. Bruh, you presented the man with a peach pie because he's from Georgia, which almost thinks is like a cupcake, and you talked about it. And AJ told you to your face, I'll help you because beating you for the title is easier than beating Drew. You knew all of this, okay? So, like, it not only does it make him look stupid in that sense of, like, he's not looking at what's in front of him, it makes him look stupid in the sense of, like, dude, are you not keeping track of the conversations you're having? Because if you're going to do this Game of Thrones shit where you're instigating fights and you're forming alliances and this and that, you better keep track of the conversations you're having. It really made him look bad. And it's kind of sad because leading up to this point, I was actually thinking, I've really liked what they've done with him in the briefcase. Like, he wasn't lying as a character, right, when he was feuding with Otis, and he said, I would make that briefcase relevant again. Because that's been a focal point of, like, it seems like every Raw as of late that, you know, he's been on. But this is a really bad move for the character tonight. So I completely agree, and I did not understand it at all. Like, again, you literally just bribed the man with a pie, so it is what it is. I think my only other nitpick, and I'd say it's the weakest one because I think we like to come in with a bit more substance than just I don't like it. But I'm still not caring for the whole Lana storyline. I don't like that
like, dude, I was tempted to make that a heat of the night, but I wouldn't even know what to call my heat of the night stemming from that story because it's just all bad, and we've talked about how bad everything about it is before. Like,
yeah.
You literally just cut Nia and Lana away from this entire thing, and we would have Shayna versus Asuka for the Raw Women's title, and I would be over the moon. I would love that shit.
Yeah. I think for me,
that shit up.
Yeah, I think for me, just to make it very brief, I just don't like that what this is conveying to me is that they're using Asuka's overness to try and get somebody that they care about more long-term over. It's like, oh, you know, we built her up, so now we can get our pet projects over. And I just don't want Asuka to be discarded after this. So we'll have to see what happens. But, dude, this is the first time, I think, since we've gotten back in, like, these more chill reviews and, you know, trying to reclaim the positivity, we really loaded this Raw out with heats of the night. So let's see.
I was even thinking coming into this is definitely going to be our shortest review of probably anything since we started doing them again.
All right, well let's.
I mean, like I said earlier, I feel like 80% of this show was bad or heat of the night more worthy. And now I will say, looking over the show, I think 80% might be overestimating. It's probably closer to like 2/3 or 70% or somewhere around there. But there was a lot of bad on the show, and there was a few things that put a smile on my face, made me chuckle, and you know I did enjoy. But again, nothing on the show that I was like really enthusiastic about, which is kind of the big thing that I look forward to on wrestling shows.
Absolutely. So let's put that idea to the test. Let's get into our Raw review.
Ooh.
Don't really want to talk about the first segment.
Yeah.
I talked about it. Fuck moment of bliss.
Skip right on over that shit. Because of course, now that Randy is back involved in a feud with a supernatural character, we get to be reminded that he has voices in his head.
Yeah, just fucking great. Do we even want to talk about Symphony of Destruction, given that we already kind of gave that attention as well?
I don't know. I mean, look, here's the thing. It had some relatively innovative spots, like Elias using the guitar picks as Wolverine claws, but, like, we didn't even get juice off of that. It's like, really, if you're going to stab somebody in the head, like, if you're ever going to do a fucking blade job spot, I would expect one there. Like, Jesus Christ. This dude just got punched with, like, guitar picks pointy side out. Like, yeah, I would expect you to bleed from that. But no, we didn't get it there. And, like, the finish was just a disaster. And not only because of Jeff winning in general, but just the way that it played out with Jeff landing the back of his head on the steel steps. Like, it was bad. But then we get to kind of one of the few things throughout this entire show that I actually found consistently entertaining, and that was the backstage interactions between the three guys in the triple threat tonight with Riddle, Lee, and Styles. And the first one here was just Riddle and Lee.
Yeah, Keith Lee was definitely more mood, because I'm like, yeah, I'd probably walk away from this too. And then AJ, I do enjoy him and Riddle's chemistry to a point. I'll be honest, dude. The energy Riddle was giving off, I was almost wondering if they were going to pull an upset with him and have him win the triple threat here.
Dude, he was so enthusiastic tonight. It was really, yeah, I agree.
He was really enthusiastic, and the reason why they kind of planted that seed of doubt in me was because he went out of his way to emphasize to both guys that he's never challenged for the WWE title. Like, he told AJ, you've been the champion, and he told Keith, you've challenged for the title. I've never been the champion or challenged for the title. So he made that clear to both guys. So yeah, these were interesting interactions. It'll be curious though, because they keep Riddle and Keith, I feel like, are in similar places because I feel like they're in that upper echelon in a way, but they haven't crossed that threshold. You know what I mean? They're like on a simmer, but they're not boiling hot yet. And I'm just curious what's going to happen.
I feel like Riddle right now is white hot for a mid-card title run. Whereas Keith Lee, I agree with you, is very much on that simmer that they could just tap into him anytime they want for a shot at the world title.
Yeah, absolutely. So I still expect, since you said mid-card title, I would not be surprised if we had Riddle and Lashley interacting soon.
Well, we did. What we did tonight.
Did we tonight? I must have missed that.
You might have missed it, but yeah, Riddle was chatting shit to MVP backstage, and MVP, pie-faced him, and then Lashley came in and put him in the Hurt Lock, and yeah, that happened tonight.
Holy, I missed all of that, admittedly. I am so sorry.
I'm glad that I caught that then, because I couldn't imagine us both missing such an important development. Yeah, that was like one of the few things tonight that really got me excited. That was one of the few things tonight that really put a smile on my face.
Wow, I don't know how I missed that, because I really feel like I was on top of things tonight, but I guess not. When did that happen?
Probably right before the main event, I want to say, like the third hour, I want to say.
Okay, you know what? Maybe that makes sense, because I did catch before Drew's interview that Sheamus and Keith Lee had a segment. I wonder if it was before that.
I think it was.
Then I must have missed it, because I will say that I was looking away and my stream was on mute, so that would explain it. Okay, Thank you. But yeah, with that said, then we get an Ali Retribution promo. Ali more or less telling Ricochet, like, how long are you going to roll the boulder up the hill? You know, where you are now, Retribution's already been. And, you know, we woke up to it. And more or less just telling Ricochet, look, you can play the hero all you want. It's an exercise in futility. The sooner you join us, the better it is. It's pretty much the theme of the promo. Mm-hmm. Ali, he speaks with such conviction and such fire. I've already said how much I love him to death. You can go back on our other podcasts and hear it.
Bro, you and Ali have such similar energy. Like, his whole thing about no one man can really change anything. It has to be a full group, a revolution. Like, I feel like you were just shouting mood from the rooftops while he was cutting this promo.
Uncrowned WWE champion and total daddy material. I'm telling you. Fucking Ali, get it, baby. So, yeah, Ali cuts that promo. We get Ricochet versus Slapjack. I've really got nothing to say here since we talked about it in the first segment, but I will co-sign with you. That is one thing I'll say. I did like the finish with like the almost like back suplex Sidewinder neck breaker type maneuver, whatever the hell it was at Slapjack. Yeah. I thought it was really cool.
It kind of looked like a little bit like a take on the page turner.
Yeah, that's actually a great analogy, man. That's a great comparison.
I think it had a little more snap to it than the page turner, though. I really liked it.
I did too, and I have to give credit to Ricochet too. I'm assuming on the bump because he really made it look great.
That's the thing. Like, say what you will about how bland of a talker Ricochet is, dude is absolute money in the ring every single time. I don't really care. Like, if WWE would ever decide to really get behind Ricochet and like have him talk less or give him a mouthpiece even better, I would absolutely 100% believe him as a Universal Champion. I don't give a shit. Like, the dude's fucking incredible.
Absolutely. We get Miz TV with Sheamus, and I'll just say off the bat, like, I don't know what WWE has tapped into these last couple months with Sheamus, but I've been enjoying him. You know, like, I know, like, his look might have been a bit off tonight for this Miz TV segment. I think I even heard your remark, like, I don't think you said he looked like a dork, but I feel you were like, oh, man, he kind of looks ridiculous. Maybe that's the word that you used. But other than that,
oh, Sheamus with the suspenders and the weird hat, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, he looks like he was auditioning for a role on Peaky Blinders. I doubt anybody watched that.
And even after he took his hat off, I thought he still looked goofy, so it made me realize that it was way more about the suspenders than the hat.
Yeah. And, but yeah, like, I don't know what they've tapped into with Sheamus, man, but I've really been enjoying him lately. And it's so funny because he's in his 40s, too. Like, you figure he's in the late stage of his career, too. And I feel like they're really getting him right. Hey, better late than never, right? So the whole thing with Miz TV, they're trying to drum up dissension between Sheamus and Drew, because what Miz would like to see is Sheamus turn on Drew, and then just have Miz pick the scraps.
Miz is us. Miz is the crowd.
yeah, exactly.
And it's not even that we want it. It's just that we feel like it's inevitable. Like, we're just waiting for it. We're anticipating it.
Yeah, and I just I loved how hard Miz went here, because that is one thing. Again, it's such a shame that his character was written so ineptly in that last segment, because I do love how he can goof around with Jomo. I heard you say when you were reacting to it on your own when we were watching it together that you felt like they got like a Wayne's World energy going on. I felt like that was a good comparison that you had. I love that Miz and Morrison can do that, but Miz like that can be really serious and really cutting to somebody when he needs to be cutting. Like, I'll never forget how he verbally destroyed Enzo Amore, which is probably marching orders that Miz got, because we knew the reputation he had backstage. But even just, like, as a character, just telling Sheamus, when was the last time you were even WWE champion? What, 5 years ago? For 2 months? Your career is a joke. And I'm like, damn.
Yeah.
Damn, he bodied
You know what, though?
him,
At the
dude.
same time, I was really waiting for Sheamus to be like, you really want to say that when you're you? Like, what was Miz was relevant? Come on.
Yeah, and he very easily could have said that, but I almost feel like Miz, he'd either pull a me and he'd do the mental gymnastics, or he would just, like, keep piling it on, right? But, you know, soon it just devolves into, you know, the physicality, because Sheamus takes a shot, and, you know, he starts pummeling on Jomo, who continues to be the gift that keeps on giving in this tandem, and Miz comes from behind, hits Sheamus in the back with the briefcase, I think like 3 times. Drew doesn't come out, which did surprise me a little bit. And that kind of plays into later in the show. So yeah, I thought this was really solid Miz TV. I'm liking Sheamus as a character. And again, like, because they pulled back for TLC, which, you know, obviously we're already kind of, well, we didn't even need to address it tonight. They addressed it last week by having Sheamus just lose the qualifier. I still wouldn't mind, like, if this was the Rumble title match or whatever, whenever you want to do it, sans WrestleMania, I don't mind. So yeah, I thought this was a solid segment. Do you have anything you want to add?
I think I'm good. This was one of those segments that I was just like taking it in. Didn't really feel any extreme emotions. Like I said, I thought it would be funny if Sheamus would have thrown it back in Miz's face. Like, you can't go after my career when you've done literally nothing in like probably an even longer amount of time than me. Because you've got to remember too, Sheamus beat Daniel Bryan for the world title in 2012, and he had a pretty decent run with it, if I remember correctly, because that was when he won the Royal Rumble as well.
Yes.
Pretty sure that the last time Miz was doing anything like in the world title scene was like 2010, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, he did get a WWE title shot when Punk was feuding with Jericho. Wasn't that also 2012? He did get a WWE title shot in that Elimination Chamber.
Okay, so he was one of 6 guys that were vying for that title, but he didn't win it, and he hasn't held it since, I believe it was 2010 or 2011.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's been a long time.
So, like, yeah, Sheamus could have literally pulled an Uno reverse card on Miz here, and he really missed that opportunity. I almost wonder if it was just because, like, he was just kind of sticking to the script, and that would have been going off script because they didn't put it in his script.
Yeah, because, I mean, you want to get heat on the heel, and I feel like all that heat would have evaporated, just like...
You know what, though? At the same time, you're right, and I agree with you, because I'm sure that there are a lot more of the casual fans that won't remember shit from a decade ago like we do. But for people like us, it just makes Miz look that much more like a geek.
Yeah. And speaking of geeks, we get Lana and Asuka backstage. Asuka fired up the title.
I did appreciate the Asuka just shouting in Japanese and then being like, "That's how we beat Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax," and Lana being like, "Yeah!"
To be honest, I'd be lying if I said that isn't going to be us in a few years when you've mastered the Japanese language and you're just talking to me in Japanese, and I'm like, yeah, man, I totally feel you on that. John, I literally just reported the news to you in Japanese about an earthquake that killed 2 million people. Yeah, for fluency, man. Yeah, like it's gonna be so awkward.
That's never gonna happen, by the way. I'm aware enough to realize to only speak to people who understand Japanese with Japanese.
There you go. But yeah, they get interviewed by it's Charlie, right?
Was it Charlie?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
She's like,
it probably was. I think Charlie is like the one that is pretty consistently like the interviewer backstage for Raw. Because isn't Kayla SmackDown? Kayla is like, I think SmackDown uses 2 of them too. Like, doesn't SmackDown uses like Kayla and then like Mackenzie Mitchell or some shit like that? I don't even.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like it's either Mackenzie or it could be Sarah Schreiber, but I feel like she's still NXT. But
I think Schreiber is NXT, yeah.
But I know Javaris, I know. But she's like, oh, you know, Lana, what were you guys talking about? What's the strategy? And she's like, you wouldn't understand. That's right, Lana, fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
Again, low-key mood. I can't lie about that much.
That's the thing is, like, when Lana isn't being annoying as fuck or incompetent at her job, she is kind of funny sometimes.
Yeah, there you go. Then we get Shayna and Nia backstage. Oh my god.
Shayna comes off as so legit, talking about, like, she even put over Asuka here. I can't emphasize how cool it was to hear her say, losing to Asuka, that's one thing. Because it's like, she put the respect on her name. It's like, yeah, losing to Asuka, there's no shame in that because she's awesome. And then she brings it back to, but losing to Lana, it's pathetic. It's unacceptable. And I'm just like, oh, Shayna, you're too good for Monday Night Raw right now.
Yeah, I mean, notice how she was economical with her speech and yet still so effective with it.
Yeah, and then Nia starts blabbering on about bullshit.
Ew. Yeah, say it to the mirror. Face! God. I'm sorry, people. I hate her so much. So then we get the tag match. You know, and again, like, I don't want to project too hard because it is just wrestling and it's not the story that I'd be telling, which in itself doesn't make it bad. But Lana pinning Shayna off of Asuka scraps, it's like, I think where it angers me isn't even so much Lana or that they're doing it. You know what I think really angers me at the core to kind of get something out of this is I almost feel like I don't know what they're telegraphing. So maybe I'm angry at myself for not getting it, but then again, what is there to get when I keep hearing that they rewrite scripts like the day of the show, like an hour before, right? Because at first you'd think, oh, it's a girl that's underestimated by everybody, bullied, harassed, I mean, put through a table God knows how many fucking times, and she proves everybody wrong. But that hasn't happened. It didn't happen in Survivor Series because it was fluky. Didn't happen in the tag match last week because, well, that was Asuka pinning Shayna, but, you know, Lana was able to slip out. In fact, that was probably more legit than this, because then this week it's the sliding kick from Asuka when Shayna clearly had Lana in the Kirifuda. And I gotta be honest too, man. I don't think this reflects poorly on Shayna's intelligence, but I am kind of worried how they're booking her as a wrestler in the ring. Between Survivor Series, like her not letting go of the choke, right? And then here just losing to that kick, which I'm pretty sure like a lot of people have kicked out of. It makes me
I feel like whenever we're trying to evaluate somebody that's relatively new to the main roster, we try and figure out like what pattern they're kind of being booked into. And right now, Shayna is very much in the Samoa Joe pattern, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. In fact, I'm not even going to try. I think you articulated it perfectly. Lana and Asuka get the win. Drew and Sheamus backstage, more or less again building that tension. You know, Drew's kind of laughing. Sheamus is like, "Oh, you thought that was funny," and you know, he's just trying to fire Sheamus up. He's like, "Oh, you know, yeah, because you know, I heard what Miz said. That was poetic. Are you ready to take their heads off?" And Sheamus was like, "Yeah, you know, thanks for having my back out there." And you know, Drew again just seems to kind of shrug it off. So. We don't know what's going to happen there. That'll come later. And then we get to what, and I don't want to speak for you because I know you really liked Riddle tonight. Everything here was my highlight of the show.
The New Day, the New Day Hurt Business stuff was a definite high spot on the show overall. New Day's promo and then MVP's retort, all that stuff was solid. The match between Woods and Alexander was really good. And even, like, the simple post-match character beat of Alexander, like, popping off without MVP or Shelton at his side, like, just, like, going off on his own, taking credit for the win, like, being all happy and excited and stuff. Like, yeah, it was all really well done. This was, like, it almost feels like one or more of the guys involved in this has their own, like, creative control, because this felt like very different booking and writing from the rest of the show to me.
I mean, brother, I'm just going to be truthful. Cedric looked like more of a star here with his confidence, his presentation, and everything than he has in months to me.
Yeah.
And it like, they have such an asset in Cedric. I've always said that, like, I think he has one of the best stories in the company if you think back to the Cruiserweight Classic, the original CWC. And then, you know, joining the Hurt Business, you know, all the way to now. And he had that brief hiccup where he was feuding with AJ, and I was happy for him. Like, the dude consistently shows up. I think he's very endearing. He's solid as hell in the ring. I've already given my praise to Xavier recently. I was really happy to see these two share a ring together. Xavier's one of the most well-rounded performers in the company with his selling and his moveset and everything. Very happy for him that we got Creed 4G4. Definitely deserved. Passionate gamer. They're going to do very well there. And, yeah, I agree with you, man. Cedric being so absorbed. And you know what, too? Like, I got to give WWE, Cedric, anybody, maybe everybody, credit for almost telegraphing it too, because he does have a line in his promo to Xavier before the match where he said, "It was a fluke that you beat Shelton last week, but I'm not Shelton Benjamin," which I almost expected the camera to pan to Shelton with a look like, "What you mean? You know, like, what the fuck are you saying right now?" Because you could tell that that's clearly meant to, like, puff his chest out and be like, "I'm better than Shelton in the Hurt Business." But it's
and then he went out and proved himself right. What?
Yeah, dude, I'm really curious, because here's what we have to remember about Cedric too, and I think why I was so positive about this and why I was so heartened by this relative to most of the show. Cedric was the one that got pretty much beaten into submission into the Hurt Business.
Yeah.
They kept antagonizing him week after week after week.
He was the one that was the "if you can't beat him, join him" guy.
Exactly. So to go from that guy to the guy puffing his chest out and be like, "Yeah, I'm better than all y'all motherfuckers."
It's like, once I don't have all of you working against me, I can prove how damn good I am.
Exactly. It almost makes you wonder, like, if WWE was playing 4D chess, I'm almost waiting for that little shoe to drop and be like, "Oh, Cedric only joined him so he could destroy him from the inside with insecurity," and then be like, "Yeah, I knew that the only way to close down the business was to make it decline from within." So I'm very interested in where this is going to go. I honestly would not be miffed at all if Endgame was Cedric beating Lashley for the U.S. title and leaving the Hurt Business. It could very well go to Riddle. Would not surprise me at all, because, like you said, he is white hot right now. He seems primed for a mid-card title. But if they want Cedric to keep playing these mind games and just being like, "Fuck the Hurt Business, I won," and then he wins his first mid-card title on the main roster, that'd be so cool for the dude and so well-deserved. And poetically enough, it would be the same title that he was close to the last time he got seriously pushed. So I'm all for it. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I really wanted to spotlight this. This is definitely my highlight of the show. I love this. Then we get Riddle and Styles backstage. What did you think about this?
Yeah, this was fun and entertaining. I actually like that they're giving Omos some personality. I wasn't expecting them to go that route with him. I thought that he would just be like the big silent killer, like the early evolution Batista. But no, they're actually letting him kind of show some personality, and apparently he's like hanging out with Riddle sometimes outside of the venue. He still does work for AJ when he's on the clock, but he doesn't have to be on the clock all the damn time. He can chill. He can hang out with the bro, with the original bro. And yeah, it was just kind of a fun little interaction here where I don't even remember what the inside joke was. All I remember is that Riddle said something related to the captain or skipper or something like that, and almost laughed. And AJ was just like, "What the hell? What's so funny?" And almost explained the joke to him. And I laughed. I thought that was.
Oh yeah, because Skipper was like his pet bunny, and AJ's like, "Oh, bunnies don't skip; they hop." And then Riddle had this weird moment where he's like, "Oh, well, you remind me so much of Skipper. You got something about his jumping ability."
Oh, that's right. And I know he said at the end that you're absolutely adorable or something like that.
He said like, "Yeah, and you're super cute." And like, oh yeah, he also said that you're really furry is the second thing. So beyond AJ having a near moment of the gay community, I also absolutely love that he has no idea what Almost gets up to. He's like, wait, you talk? Like, what? Like, what?
Yeah. I love that, like, every wrestling trope of the big man scary bodyguard that almost breaks, AJ is completely taken aback by it.
Exactly. Like, wait, that's not like Diesel. What are you doing?
Exactly. So... Wait. Oh, God. You're not... Oh, fuck. What was that guy's name? Oh, never mind. Jackson, you're not Jackson.
You're not Ezekiel Jackson, yeah.
No, Jackson Andrews, Tyson Kidd's bodyguard that one time.
Oh, shit, I actually forgot Tyson Kidd had a storyline where he was going through, like, managers and bodyguards these weeks. Oh, my God, yeah. Because I only said Jackson because he was the bodyguard for the Brian Kendrick. So they've done this, like,
I didn't even know. I mean, I knew about it, like, in the back of my mind. Definitely wasn't in the forefront. Jackson Andrews, for some reason, was the first one that came up because he was the random tall dude with no personality that was behind Tyson for, like, a month.
You know, if we're going to get our wires crossed, it's always best when we're both right.
Yeah. So Deacon Batista was the other one that we could have used that would have worked.
Yeah, definitely. Oh my God, fucking Deacon Batista. I will just say one more thing.
I don't understand. Wouldn't it? Oh, never mind. Go ahead.
No, I just wanted to say one more thing about this because then I feel like the rest of the review we're gonna zip on through. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Is that I love that AJ, because we already talked about at the top that like he won the triple, so it's like no spoilers or anything. He is number one contender. He's gonna face Drew, and it's so believable because he's AJ, and he's like the only main event guy that's like competing for the WWE title against a very legit champion in my mind that can have a sense of humor and can laugh at himself. I love that. I love that they can walk that line with him and get away with it because he's AJ Styles. So I did just want to point that out as well. I hope they keep doing that because I think if they keep that, him and Drew, their promos could be very entertaining. And not every promo needs to be a serious, oh, I've gone this long without the WWE title or I'll do anything to be WWE champion. AJ could just be like, nah, man. I'm AJ Styles. I'm going to be a 3-time WWE champion. That's all there is to it. Have Almost say something, have AJ kind of react, and bam, you have Drew respond. There you go. So, yeah, I look forward to it. I very much look forward to it. We have Miz and actually, no, wait. We have the triple threat next. Riddle, Keith Lee Styles. Yeah. Very fun triple threat.
Match of the night? Would you say this was the match of the night, or would you say that Cedric versus Xavier was match of the night?
I'd say for the narrative, Cedric Xavier. For the in-ring, definitely the triple threat. I really think it just depends on what you emphasize as a wrestling fan personally.
Dude, it blows my mind the way that Keith Lee and Matt Riddle can just get in the ring. Like, it doesn't fucking matter what else is going on. They can be opponents. They can be partners. They can be members of a triple threat or a multi-man match of any kind. It just doesn't matter. These two guys just have this ridiculous chemistry with each other, and they just always have these amazing sequences in any match.
Yes, absolutely. I completely agree with you. I thought their sequence was a lot of fun. Keith Lee just being a hoss, and it really only works too when you've got people that are willing to bump for you and stuff like that. And AJ and Riddle, of course, are very
every time Matt Riddle needs to get German suplexed and land on his feet, I get freaked the fuck out that he's gonna like land with his toes under his foot or something.
Yeah, dude, I know it's. Definitely a bated breath kind of moment.
I know, sure. Like anybody that wrestles in bare feet like that, I will always fear for the safety of their footsies.
But yet again, Ashton, another matchup, and we've kind of talked about this lately, so I don't want to belabor the point, but another matchup where Keith Lee doesn't. He looks dominant.
That's what I'm saying, though, dude. Like, they've pretty clearly, like, they've made it sort of apparent that Riddle is a mid-card player and not a main eventer right now. But Keith Lee, it's like we're still waiting for the results on this test, man. We're still like trying to find out like Is he a main eventer? Is he somebody that's going to be seen as someone that can be a world champion one day? Is he someone that's going to get pushed to the moon? Or are they just kind of biding their time so that when they make people realize that he isn't, they don't freak out as much because they're going to have stalled it so much that people will have cared less? I don't know. I really think they might just be building Keith Lee up for a Rumble win. I think that that's a real chance. Like, I'm not going to get my hopes up for it because every time I get my hopes up for anything in WWE, I get disappointed. But I really could see that being what's going on. Like, they basically maybe called him up a little too early, and then they were just like, you know what? We just realized we don't want to push this guy until the road to WrestleMania, so we're going to just kind of fucking keep him in, what's the thing where you haven't gone to heaven or hell yet? I forget.
Purgatory?
Purgatory, yeah. We're going to just kind of keep him in, like, main event purgatory for the next 3 months. So he's just been kind of hovering, kind of coasting, not eating any pins, but not really getting any big wins either for the last couple months while we wait until we get closer to Rumble season.
Yeah, I will say too, dude, just to punctuate this, this booking of Lee definitely makes me sympathetic to your idea that he may very well win the Rumble in January.
Yeah.
I'm very definitely warming up to that idea very quickly.
It almost reminds me of the way that Jinder Mahal was protected right before he got pushed to the main event. Like the way that he had a really long match with Finn Balor and actually picked up like a surprise win against someone we didn't expect like a week or two later after basically injuring Balor because he caused like a concussion. He gave Balor a concussion with a really stiff forearm, if I remember correctly. And they just they were just like, oh, well, moving on. Let's give him a win now to reward him for that. And we were just like, what the hell's going on right now? And then, yeah, within like 2 months, he won the world title. It's kind of like, obviously, Keith Lee isn't going to injure anybody like fucking Mahal did. But it just feels like that kind of weird, like, they're really having this dude look this legit against like these big main event players and not having him lose and stuff. And like, that's kind of the same energy we had with Mahal, except we didn't like it then, but we really do like it now with Lee.
Yeah, for sure, dude. I really am curious how they're going to book Keith Lee going into 2021, and we'll have to see what happens there. But yeah, so AJ wins the triple threat phenomenal forearm on Riddle, pins him. Like I said, it caught me only a bit off guard. I figured AJ was the safe bet, so I am happy they went with the safe bet because, you know, AJ and Drew going to be a great matchup. I think it'll definitely be the closest to like Seth and Drew for Money in the Bank, which I also really liked and may even go beyond it. So AJ does get the win. Miz and Morrison get interviewed, pretty much asked if they have a plan, if they have a strategy. Miz is like, oh, of course we have a strategy, and he lists all these things, and then interviewer's like, oh, well, Miz, all due respect, you haven't really said anything, you've just listed a bunch of facts. And he's like, ha, and Jomo's like, hey, I got an idea, let's go over here, ha, and, Miz is just like, oh, well, look at you, aren't you so smart? So, Miz again playing it up.
Dude, I even tweeted, these guys had some serious, like, Wayne's World energy going on, and I feel like they have for a little while now, especially with you when you add in, like, the correct thing that they've been doing. It really gives me that Wayne's World vibe for some reason.
If they're having fun, I'm having fun.
It does seem like they are. I would say Morrison more than Miz seems like he's having a really fun time.
And that's really all that matters to me. I did kind of light up a little bit, though, when Miz is like, when I successfully cash this in, Jomo's going to be my first title defense, and I'm just like, you better. Bitch.
He won't be, and that'll be what causes them to split.
As they should. As they fucking should. Fuck the next thing that happened, Dana Brooke vs. Reckoning, skipping right over that.
Fuck everything about that, yeah. Jesus.
Already talked about Miz and Morrison bribing AJ with a pie and stuff. We talked about that especially in the first segment. I'm thinking we can skip over that.
I loved, though, that, again, they're sticking with almost having a personality, because he's like, that's not a pie, it's a cupcake.
Yeah, I did chuckle at that. I'm like, what?
That was a huge pie, too. Holy shit.
So, then what I saw was Sheamus, Keith Lee, but I'm guessing maybe Matt Riddle, Lashley kind of had
Yeah. Riddle and MVP getting into it, and MVP saying that Riddle's ideas are dumb and tells him to get lost, and then shoves it, like, face palms or pie faces him, and then Riddle gets up at MVP's face, and Lashley gets him into the hurt lock from behind. And then we got the Keith Lee-Sheamus interaction after that.
Right, and I just heard Keith Lee say, some of the boys are thinking you're going to turn on the WWE champion tonight. And Sheamus was like, that's nobody's damn business. Now, if you excuse me, I got to go turn on my tag team partner. So Sheamus just kind of throwing it back in his face. We then get the Drew McIntyre interview.
Yeah, I thought this was really weird. Like, you're really going to do, like, an interview with your champion right before his random-ass tag team main event?
Did you also find it weird, like me, that, like, I understand we're close to the end of 2020, but we're not, like, quite there, and you spotlight Drew like this on a night where Miz seems really intent on cashing in? I almost felt like it was, like, a swerve. Like a smoke screen is a term I like to use. It was a smoke screen. Like,
it was like a fucking like in that insurance commercial where the old guy in the fishing gear is dangling the dollar bill in front of the woman, like, oh, you almost got it. It was kind of like they were dangling a cash in front of us.
Exactly. I think that was really well said. He hypes up his match with AJ, and he says, it's going to be phenomenal. See what I did there? Indeed, Drew. Indeed. So that was pretty much that.
I just want to let you know, the way you said phenomenal there, I know that you were kind of going for like a half-assed Drew McIntyre accent, but you really sounded like Jim Rome.
I don't even know who that is.
He's a sports show personality. It was amazing, because I know for a fact that one of those like big SNL impressionist guys, I forget the guy's name, Will Sasso, I think it was. One of those guys, I think it might have been Will Sasso, did a Jim Rome bit on, I don't know if it was SNL or if it was the other one, Mad TV. I think it was Mad TV now that I think about it. But he did like a Jim Rome segment, and he would do the, everything is looking phenomenal. That's what you said when you did that.
Bro, it's so funny to me. You know what? I don't even want to get into this because we're really close to being done. I'll tell you after why that's so funny that you mentioned Will Sasso of all fucking people. So we get our tag match. The only thing I do want to spotlight, because of course I fucking do, the bump that Jomo did for Drew's shoulder block. Holy shit, where he did like a 360
I might have missed
spin.
it. I think I missed it. Damn.
Oh, dude. Is there any way we could find it on Twitter real quick?
Did he just do like a big flippy flip?
Yeah. It was like a big rotation.
Yeah.
It was wild, bro. It was pretty crazy. Let's see, is there? Man, I'm guessing there's no quick video for this, but yeah, it was a great spot. We already kind of talked about the finish and everything. Because AJ causes the DQ for Miz and Morrison, which Miz again is initially pissed about. We already talked about how inept Miz seemed to be in this segment. Yeah. It's like, I'm trying to help you win the title, like you bribed me with a pie to do. So that was
dude, that low key reminds me of the 2-on-1 handicap match, or the triple threat, or whatever it was, when it was Miz, Morrison, and Strowman, and Morrison had Strowman beat, and Miz pulled him off, and he was like, "Wait a minute, I'm so sorry, pin him again," and they got a 2 count, and that was it. That was the end.
Why is he consistently the worst? Why does he get in his own way so much?
I really hope that when Morrison does turn on the Miz, that moment gets brought up.
Oh, dude, please let him know. Show him all the receipts. Hell, show him all the receipts. Show him the one where he beat the shit out of you, which formally signed you out of the company all those years. Now, granted, you did get a Lucha Underground run out of it, so I almost want to thank the Miz. But fuck it, What
was that, 2013?
That was 2011. That was like 2011.
God, I thought that his feud with Sheamus was in 2012. I'm losing my mind.
No, yeah, it was 2011, bro. Wow. It was like late 2010, and
because I know they had the big like street fight on New Year's.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, just give them all the receipts. So yeah, they lose by DQ because of AJ. Drew, of course, being the mastodon he is, recovers after the beatdown, lays everybody out. I love how AJ escaped. I really love AJ's energy right now, man. I think if he keeps up this energy even after the Drew feud, because I do only expect it to last one pay-per-view, although I'd be very happy to be wrong with this energy right now. He flips over and almost catches him, and he's like, all right, bud, let's go. He's lucky you got me, because I destroy him if you put me down right now.
Dude, again, I feel like the biggest highlights on this show were Cedric Alexander, Xavier Woods, the triple threat, and just almost in general. Almost put more smiles on my face than just about anyone else in this show.
Yeah, dude, I completely agree. I think he killed it tonight.
And I love the way that AJ was like, escape hatch, go!
Yeah.
It's over the ropes, lands right on Omos' shoulder.
AJ's really channeling that dad energy right now, where he's
That
just
energy,
serious enough.
dude, AJ's really channeling that cartoon villain energy.
Yeah, either one.
He's very Elmer Fudd right now, and I love it.
Yeah, either one, because I was going to say that he's just serious enough to get the job done, but just goofy enough to just be drunk on his own delirium. And I for one, am here for that, AJ Styles.
Yeah.
So that was the tag main event. So let's get right into high spots, low shots. I'm just going to say straight up, my low shot was Reckoning. What a horrible fucking night for Retribution. Jesus Christ.
I'm tempted to make my low shot Retribution as a whole, but I won't.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I'm actually, though, going to be a bit more upbeat about my high spot. I'm going to give it to Cedric. I really loved what Cedric did tonight, and yeah, I like that I get to flex my high spot with a more creative pick. So what about you?
Well, I never even gave my low shot, did I?
Oh, I'm so sorry, man. Because you said I could give it to Retribution, but I won't. So who is your low shot? And you can do low shot and high spot, and then
you know what, though? It's still pretty easy. It's The Miz.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, we talked about how dumb he was tonight, but, like, technically, because of the plan that he had in place that he totally forgot about, AJ destroying Drew with the phenomenal forearm got Miz and Morrison disqualified. So not only was he too dumb to realize that it was his time to cash in, but he didn't even win the match because of the fact that he was trying to cash in and then forgot about it. So yeah, Miz took a gigantic L tonight.
Yes.
And then for my high spot, who was your high spot again?
My high spot, Cedric.
Damn, I wanted to take Cedric. Okay, so then you know what? My high spot is going to be Omos, because I feel like he gave us some of the most enjoyable moments of the night tonight.
Excellent. All right, guys. With that said, this has been Raw. This has been TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans by wrestling fans on the web today. I'm John. That's my co-owner and commentary, Ashton. Guys, be sure to like the video as you file out. The more likes you leave, the more likely we are to be the top search result for Raw reviews on YouTube. And when you're the best at what you do, the top is the only place that you belong. So please leave that like. Comment down below when this video is done processing. Talk to us. What do you think about AJ Styles being the number one contender? Who do you think is going to be the next United States champion? I potentially mentioned the end game with Cedric being taking the title off Lashley, but we also mentioned that Riddle seems to be white hot for a mid-card title. Do you see either of those guys being the next U.S. champion? Or hell, with Jeff Hardy beating Elias, do you see him potentially getting a title shot down the road? What does the mid-card scene look like to you? Is there any way that Retribution can be rehabilitated? Just talk to us about everything Monday Night Raw in the comments. I think I already said subscribe and click the bell icon so you never miss any of that TWitWoW goodness. If I did, I apologize. But, just reminding you again, because I'd like more people to do it. Check out everything we're involved in down in the description box below. I greatly appreciate it. And as far as the rest of our week goes, tomorrow, I'm guessing we probably won't have Stardom tomorrow, right, brother? I don't.
You know what, dude? I haven't even looked at Stardom pretty much all day today. I know that yesterday they had literally nothing up from either of the shows that happened this weekend, and right now they have 3 matches up from the show that happened on Saturday morning. So I really think our best bet is just to kind of stick with the Wednesday-Friday routine. That seems to be the most consistent that's been actually working.
All right, guys, then, Tuesday we're off. Wednesday you can expect Stardom at 5, and then an NXT review at 10. War Games go-home show, I might add. So big NXT this Wednesday. We don't have anything Thursday this week, correct? Because I know it's not a Q&A.
I'm glad you reminded me that it is the TakeOver War Games go-home show, though, because we will end up probably wanting to do our War Games preview predictions on Saturday.
Right, I'm guessing we could pencil that in for, 9.
Well, our last preview prediction that we did at 10 worked out pretty well, so I think we'll try that again.
Okay, so yeah, preview predictions for War Games at 10 on Saturday. Then obviously live reactions to War Games Sunday at 7. But then, of course, before all that, Friday at 5 will be another Stardom show. And then Friday at 10, we're back with our SmackDown reviews, because remember, Rocket League was only because it was the post-Survivor Series shows.
Yep.
So, yeah, guys, that's our breakdown for the week. I hope I did a good enough job there, Ashton. But, yeah, I think that about covers it.
You didn't do a good enough job. You did a fucking incredible job.
Like the making of your face. So, yeah, that's a thing. I need to get out of here. But we kept it under an hour. I'm so proud of us. So, yeah, guys, be good to yourselves. Be good to each other. The world keeps on turning. Wrestling keeps on being whatever. Mainly WWE. Stardom and New Japan are fucking, oh my God. So, yeah, we'll give all the best coverage of whatever the wrestling is right here on TWitWoW. So we'll see you again on Wednesday. Again, for Stardom at 5, then NXT review at 10. Till then, guys, tune in.